not sure whether he's as good as we all think he is.
Ballyadam, Sam, come on, he's done now.
We go wherever we need to go for winners.
Yeah, I think he'll win a Grade 1 next year.
Master of the Seas is an absolute good thing.
Sam.
No. Hold on. Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our review of the Aintree Festival. This is our feature video this week, and we're also going to be giving a few selections for the Craven Meeting as well. Unfortunately, Jack and I didn't manage to select out the winner of the National. It was a great result, and we'll discuss that in a moment. But we did have an all-right selection in the Masters, Jack, with Jordan Spieth placing. He had an excellent round of golf, and it was great to see Hideki Matsuyama. I think it's the first year I haven't backed Hideki Matsuyama, but he goes and wins it at 33-1. But it was a really good weekend for the golf as well. But we'll get straight into Aintree and talk about day one of the festival, which was opened up by Protectorat, who was very impressive, part of the Alex Ferguson treble. Then Monmoral, he won the Grade 1 Juvenile Hurdle. Clandezovo won the Betway Bowl by 26 lengths. That was ridiculous to watch. That was really impressive. Abacadabras won the Aintree Hurdle. That horse there just sits on the bridle as long as possible. And potentially I could see this horse, if staying over hurdles, going for the Stayers Hurdle next year. May not happen, but I could potentially see that as maybe a campaign. They might try it. But Jack, it was a really good first day. Like I say, Alex Ferguson having the treble and Paul Nicholls' horses. They don't seem to come to life too much at Cheltenham, but Aintree, we seem to see the best of them.
Yeah, it was a great first day. I mean, the first time tongue-tying the wind up for Protectorat, it was great to see him back on his form when he was like at Carlisle and Cheltenham first up in the season. It was great to see him hit that form again. Of course, Monmoral was it was a funny one. I mean, I thought he was very good. I think he's probably going to be a world beater next year when you get him over fences, especially if he's going to the Arkle. But I would have, of course, liked to see Adagio not make the mistake at the last. Do I think it would have reversed the placings? Definitely not. I think it was 7.5 lengths in the end. I don't think that would have made any difference. But I just thought, kind of as a bit of like reputability, I would have liked Adagio to not make that mistake. It was weird because, especially in the Triumph, he jumped so well under pressure, so it was a very uncharacteristic mistake. Clandezovo, didn't that headgear work? Absolutely different animal. Like I was saying, like we said before, I was like, he either wins by 20 lengths or he wins at Kempton. He doesn't like a battle, and of course he didn't have that battle. And it was 26 lengths in the end. It was a great run. Abacadabras, couldn't call that. I was definitely wrong there. I didn't think he was going to stay. I think he was definitely helped out by the loose horse, which hindered him earlier in the race. I think he was definitely helped out by the loose horse to keep him on. I mean, Buzz ran an absolute screamer there as well. And yeah, it was a great first day, as you say.
Yeah, it really was. And I think Clandezovo currently, it might be one of the best anti-post bets going at the moment. If he wears that headgear come the King George on Boxing Day, you never know. I think he's around 8-1 best price for that. But, you know, he loves Kempton and they might keep that headgear on come that race. So looking forward to seeing how he goes. But like Jack said, a really good first day of the Aintree Festival. Moving swiftly on to day two. This is probably actually going to be the shortest video Jack and I film throughout the whole year. I've got a feeling it might be just under 10 minutes, but we'll find out by the end. But day two, Belfast Banter for the Irish got things kicking off on day two, proving that maybe the English novice hurdlers aren't quite as good as we thought. But we'll get onto a good one in a second. But Chantry House won the Grade 1 novice chase. That was pretty impressive, but I personally, in my opinion, don't think that Chantry House is the best Grade 1 novice chaser we've seen. Although back-to-backing it from Cheltenham, I'm just not sure whether he's as good as we all think he is. Fakir Duderie, we all selected this horse up on the preview. We're all very sweet on this horse at around 7-2. 6-year-old, he's actually going to be probably the first horse I mentioned anti-post for the Cheltenham Festival properly. I'm quite sweet on this for the Ryanair. He's only 6. He's going to be 7 next year. Plenty of improvement still to come. He ran second behind Allaho in the Ryanair last year. This season. And I just think that he's going to be very much a better horse next season, especially on good ground. I think this horse thrives on it. I thought Mark Walsh gave the horse an absolute peach at Aintree. It was an absolutely brilliant ride. And then the shock of the day, Ahoy Senor, 66-1 for Lucinda Russell. No one saw this coming. Beating Brave Man's Game, who everyone's sort of hyping up to be, you know, the next Denman. But Jack, with regards to Brave Man's Game, I mean, I want you to discuss sort of the rest of the card as well. But do we think that Brave Man's Game, he's kind of had his season, he's had his big wins and his big performances. A lot of horses have kind of come to the end of their season a bit tired and ready for next year. Do you think we're just waiting for him to go over fences now and look a hell of a horse?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the race to Ballymore definitely took a lot out of him at Cheltenham. It was fair to see. I mean, a Hoist and Your winning again, couldn't pick that. And I think the whole Denman thing, they've been very quick to kind of quash that before the race and obviously after it, because it was almost a misunderstanding, as in they were talking about the route they were going to take rather than this horse is going to be the next Denman. But I mean, even listening to like Megan Nichols on Racing TV on the morning, she was still very keen on him, and he obviously came out of the race of the Ballymore fine. It was disappointing. You can't say, of course, he didn't win. Of course, it was disappointing. But yeah, we're just looking forward to seeing him go over fences next year. Of course, he's massive, and he's a great prospect. I mean, of the rest of the card, really enjoyed Don Levon finishing second in the per temps. I mean, he just stays on and stays on. It'd be nice if he was. I think Isabel Williams was on board. If he can just be ridden a little bit more prominently, I think he can win. I don't know what mark he's off now. Belfast Banter, as you said, just reinforced how poor the novice hurdlers are over this side of the Irish Sea. I mean, Doucette was quite disappointing, wasn't he? Third time lucky, likewise. Chantry House, I think Espoir de Rome, who fell at the last. Yeah, I think he'll win a Grade 1 next year. I think he ran a very good race. Shame to see him fall at the last. As you said, Fakir Dari, as you love to call it, the Goldilocks of horse racing. Doesn't like 2, doesn't like 3, but yeah, at 2.5, he's found his feet there. And of course, it was a great ride, as you said, and also Live, Love, Laugh in the Topham. I thought that was a cracking ride to stay on there. He jumped inch perfectly almost, and yeah, again, another great day.
Yeah, it really was. With regards to Chantry House, are you in the same opinion as me, Jack, that we've taught this horse up a hell of a lot? Obviously, he won at Cheltenham with the Envoy Lenful, and obviously he's won this race. He's probably going to win it anyway, but with regards to Espoir de Rome, falling at last. I mean, he's a good horse, don't get me wrong, but I don't see this horse potentially next season being a world beater. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, especially as Espoir de Rome, I think Espoir de Rome could turn out to be a better horse than him next year. And of course, he is clouded with the whole Envoy falling in the marsh. And it's just interesting. I mean, I can't say he's going to be a world beater. I don't think he is. He's a good jumper. I still think Chamblou's a better jumper, but of course there was 32 lengths between them both. It'd be intriguing to see what he does next year, but I'm not exactly too excited to see where he goes.
Yeah, we'll have to see come next season. But yeah, that's our review of day 2 of the festival. Right, on to Grand National Day now, the final day of the festival, and it kicked things off with My Drogo winning the novice hurdle, the Grade 1, the Mersey novice hurdle, by just under 10 lengths. Now, probably the best British novice hurdle. It was great to see one win. It seems like it's been a while since we've seen a British novice hurdler beat the Irish. Ballyadam a bit disappointing, but maybe a horse that felt the effects of Cheltenham and also potentially didn't enjoy the step up. But we'll find out. I've still got a little bit of belief in this horse.
Sam.
No. Hold on. I'm not going to be backing him all of next season. Don't get me wrong. I've kind of left him alone, but I do think he still is potentially a good horse. I'm not saying I think he could turn out to be okay. We'll see next year, Jack. We'll see what they go with this horse. Shishkin won the Grade 1 novice chase. A horse at the Aintree that I thought felt the effects of Cheltenham. Did do it, he did what he had to do, but as an 8-1 on shot, you would have expected him to be sort of miles clear of the Venetia William horse. But yeah, still very impressive. Looking forward to seeing what he does next season, sort of going down the Altior route. Time Hill winning the Stayers in an absolute battle against Roxana. Roxana ran an absolute heart out in that race. But Time Hill, really, really impressive. And shame to see Paisley Park obviously pull up. Emma Lavelle's come out and said that the horse is absolutely fine. Now, whether we see this horse again next season, I mean, I hope we do. He's a legend of the game, but he's got nothing to prove to any of us. But Time Hill cut from 12s to as short as 6s in some places to the Stayers Hurdle in 2022. And then the big one, Minella Times winning the Grand National, one of the best national winners I've seen for quite a while because of the publicity it has brought to our sport. And, the Grand National is often crushed by a lot of people coming in and saying how horrible the race is. But I think RACHAEL Blackmore kind of shone the headlines out of everywhere and told people how great this sport is and has inspired a new generation of horse racing fans. It was a really great interview afterwards. She's so humble. Henry de Bromhead having the 1-2. It was just great to see. And the headlines the next day were just superb. And I've actually ordered a really, really nice canvas of this horse winning the National. I think it was a really special moment for the sport and a huge historic moment, being the first female jockey to do so. Jack, I'm going to come to you and we'll talk about how great the win in the National was and then go on to the other races.
Yeah, of course, it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was so satisfying to see with all of the rubbish we've seen through our sport and how it's been tainted and tarnished, and how the media do treat the sport like a stone in their shoe. I said, and for us to finally show them how great this sport can be with such a brilliant story like Rachel Blackmore winning when she said, I don't feel male, I don't feel female, I don't even feel human at the moment. She just comes across so well, as does Henry de Bromhead, and for two figures like that to be promoting the sport in such great light is you can't not be happy for the game. It was a brilliant result, whether you won money or didn't. It was just a cracking result to see her crossing the line and to see the emotion on her face. Of course, it would have been great if there were fans there to celebrate it with her. But yeah, it was a great result for the sports. And yeah, I think My Drogo is also going to be a bit of a world beater. Like Monmoral, I'd say they're probably the two best performances we saw the weekend, in my opinion. Ballyadam, Sam, come on, he's done now. He's done. He was never going to stay 2.5, but that was proven. He just seems very hard to win with, doesn't he? I don't even know what to say. He was beaten by Guard Your Dreams and etc. etc. Shishkin, I thought was a weird one. I don't really think he needed the run. It was a bit unnecessary, I think, for him to run. Of course, made the mistake at the last as well. I don't really know if they had to do that. Of course, he did what he had to. As you said, the stayers, it was an absolute cracker, wasn't it? Do you think they regret not sending Roxanne to the stayers now?
Potentially, yes. I do think that Roxana would have had a better chance in the stayers. She's an absolute battler. And she is still an improving horse. The Skeltons keep saying this, that this horse every year on year, gives more and more. And there's a great interview of Harry Skelton the other day saying that he hopes that this horse stays in train next season. That's going to be up to the owners. But if we do see her next season, I think the stayers will definitely be on the minds.
Yeah. I just think it was a great performance from Roxana. It was a great run, and of course, Time Hill. Sad that Dickie Johnson couldn't be on board, but nonetheless,
Yeah.
great for him to get up as well. But yeah, as we say, I've said it twice already. Another great day.
Yeah, it really was. And Minella Times, the absolute highlight of the Saturday and the highlight of the meeting. Congratulations to Henry de Bromhead, Rachel Blackmore, and the rest of the team there at the yard. But yeah, that is our review of the Grand National Festival. Right, Jack and I can't leave you without discussing a little bit of flat action. And we have already missed day one of the Craven meeting, which was yesterday. But we move on to today's meeting and also tomorrow, the big one, which is the Craven itself. But today, Jack, I'm actually going to give a couple of selections. I fancy Naval Crown. I know it's a boring selection, around 9-4 for the 225, which is a listed handicap race. Very impressive, beating Master of the Seas, who we're actually going to see we're going to see him tomorrow in the Craven itself. But I do think that this horse has bundles of ability, and I think that he's definitely a group horse in a handicap here. And the other one is a horse that you're probably not going to be that surprised that I'm selecting in the Earl of Sefton, which is over 1 mile and 1 furlong, and that's San Donato, who is 7-1. I think he's a great each-way player here. The reason behind it is I think this is probably one of the weaker races he's running compared to last year. I think it's one of the weakest races he's running for a while. Goes very well fresh. You've got to remember the Summer Mile Stakes at Ascot last season. He finished second behind Mahafa, beating the likes of Lord Glitters as well in that race. And I just think this is a weak race, and the fact he goes well fresh, the ground's going to be right up his street. I think there's no excuses for this horse. I think he's going to go very well. And then tomorrow in the Craven itself, definitely if Naval Crown wins the handicap, Master of the Seas is an absolute good thing, in my opinion. We look at what Charlie Appleby has done with regards to horses in the Craven. We go back to 2018 with Massar winning this, who went on to win the Derby. Now, when we did our flat anti-post preview, we didn't actually discuss this horse a lot, but I think Master of the Seas is potentially, if winning this, could be a real good type for the Derby. I probably wouldn't say this horse would win a Guineas, but I think over a further distance, I think this horse would be absolutely smashed. I think he's around 5-2. You might be able to get bigger for the Craven itself. So 2 short prices and a nice little each way bet for myself. Jack, what about yourself? Anything for today and tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a tricky meeting, isn't it? I mean, as we saw yesterday, we got that near rail side bias with the draw bias as well. I mean, Mark Johnson's loving life with the front runner bias, isn't he? You saw Overwrite get up for him yesterday. But yeah, I mean, from a punting point of view, it's quite tricky. So I think people should definitely tread carefully. I mean, today I'm really looking forward to seeing Saffron Beach in the Nell Gwynn Stakes. I mean, she's 2 out of 2, both over course and distance. She's a lovely mover. I love her knee action. She's got really she's really ground versatile. So I think she's about 11-4. I wouldn't be piling in, but I think she can so you can make the most of Love Is You being drawn in 1. So I think 11-4 is a fair enough price. In the Earl of Sefton stakes, I'm going to be taking you on and also taking on Global Giant. I think even money is short enough. Now, Sir Michael Stout's operating at a 60% strike rate at the moment, and he's got Solid Stone here, he's about 8-1 at the moment, but he's 2 from 2 after a break. And intriguingly, his half brother Field of Miracles also won after a lengthy break, so he's good after an absence. He won't mind the ground at all. He's got Ryan Moore in the saddle. I think he's got an okay chance each way for that other place at 8-1. So he's won at Newmarket before, and I think the drop back in trip to a mile shouldn't be too bad. I mean, so there's 2 for Wednesday. We move on to Thursday tomorrow, and in the Craven itself, I'm going to agree with you. Master of the Seas, I think he's got the best form in the race. He's not going to be fresh. He's had the run at Meydan when he just couldn't quite get to Naval Crown. He's obviously 4th in the national stakes. Won the superlative very nicely. I think 9-4 is a fair enough price. Again, quite short. I wouldn't be getting too far involved, but I would be quite surprised if he doesn't win that. And then away from Newmarket, we love winners, don't we, Sam? I mean, you've travelled to Australia for a winner, yeah?
We go wherever we need to go for winners.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to Ripon. We're going to Ripon, the 325. I think Dark Defender with Joe Fanning in the saddle, 14-1 at the moment. I think that's a bit too big of a price. I mean, he runs very, very well fresh and loves the course, so I'm sure Joe Fanning won't be giving them an easy time of it. And I think 14-1 each way is a good enough price. So there's 4 there for you.
There we go. A few selections for the Craven Meeting itself, and one nice selection from Ripon from Jack. So hopefully see a couple of those going this week. Right, that's it for today's video. We've got plenty coming your way. We're not going to be having a weekend preview this week. Obviously, you've had the passing of the Duke of Edinburgh. There's no racing on Saturday. It has been moved to Sunday. But Jack and I won't be previewing anything for this weekend. But we will be back next Tuesday with our feature video where Jack's done some excellent work at David Manuzio's yard. And it's going to be a great video coming out on Tuesday. So do look out for that one. And then we're going to have our preview next week as well. We've got the season finale from Sandown. Looking forward to crowning the champion jockey. We're not quite sure who it's going to be as of yet, but it looks like Skelton is well in the lead after a treble yesterday. I think he's got a huge chance. I think he's gone 5-1 on favourite. And then we've got Punches down the week after. And then the week after that, we've got the Guineas. Plenty of top-class action coming your way. Jack and I are only a few weeks away from actually being in a really nice studio. We've got a new look to the channel coming your way, so do look out for that. But thanks so much for the support you've given us so far. If you haven't already, subscribed to the channel, give the video a like, and we will see you next week.